not all foreigners like this. Salad is not salad.
Have you seen racism in Kazakhstan at all?
One thing I want to mention that I learned recently about apartments that's different from the US is
So how safe is Kazakhstan?
nobody smiles here. You smile at somebody and they're like, what's wrong with you?
You tell me what to do? I don't care.
But I'm a feminist. Woo!
Hi guys, today I have a special guest. Her name is Rocky. She has a YouTube channel about Kazakhstan too, or her life in Kazakhstan. So yeah, let's just get to know her, and I'm gonna ask about her life as an expat in Kazakhstan. And yeah. Okay, so Rocky, how did you end up in Kazakhstan?
Okay, so the story isn't that dreamlike.
Yeah.
So I finished my master's degree in, it's something called second language studies. So I learned how people learn second languages and how people kind of speak second languages.
Okay.
So I was looking for jobs to teach English, and I applied to like universities all over the world to teach, and then I saw like this university in Kazakhstan. I was like, I guess I'll apply. I didn't know anything about Kazakhstan at the time, and then that university contacted me and they gave me an interview and they gave me a job offer, and to be honest, that was my only job offer. So I came.
Yeah, lucky for us.
Lucky for me, actually, you know, to have a job.
What was your idea of Kazakhstan back then?
Back then, honestly, I didn't know anything. So I had never, unfortunately, I had never really learned anything about Kazakhstan. I think,
like many people.
yeah,
like most people.
Yeah, U.S. education like never teaches about other countries, especially Central Asia. So the only thing I knew was from this one guy I had met in my Korean class in Korea. He was from Kazakhstan.
Oh.
And the one thing that I remember is that he said they eat horse.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, people eat
the
horse
worst thing
here.
to say first.
I knew that, and then I did a little bit of research, like when I was looking up for the job. So I saw that Astana was very cold, and that like 80% of the population is Muslim, and that scared my parents, to be honest.
I know.
But I was
Sounds
like, it's just a religion, you know. But before I came, I decided not to like do too much research, because if you look online, it can be a bit biased, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna come and figure out how it is when I came here. So I didn't have too much knowledge beforehand. Just eats horse, Muslim, cold. Yeah, that's all.
Nothing about Asian or
No.
you know, Russian influence or
Nothing at all.
yeah. So when you came here, what year was that?
That was August of 2018.
Okay, so that's a good time to come in the summer.
Yeah.
What was your first impression? Do you remember?
Yeah, so first of all, flights from the US or Europe, they all arrive at night.
Oh.
Yeah, so they arrive, I came here at like 3 in the morning.
Oh.
So first of all, that was crazy coming here. You can't see anything, it's dark.
I know.
And then the driver was
like,
absolutely
where did I
crazy.
come?
Yeah. The driving was like crazy that first time. And of course, you know, you get off a plane, it was 24 hours of flying for me. But then, what was my impression, you know? I'm trying to think.
The next morning, you wake up.
The next morning. My apartment was actually really nice, and I didn't know what to expect. I couldn't see the apartment pictures beforehand.
Yeah.
But my coworkers were really friendly, and they like
still
showed
live
me
in
around.
that apartment?
I still live in the same apartment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so my coworkers were really nice, and I remember the first thing actually. So one of my coworkers was going to go to a grocery store, and he was like, "Oh, you can come with me." And then I had a 10,000 note tenge. And he was like, I don't know if you could pay with that because they might not say that they have change. Right? That's sometimes an issue here.
Yeah.
But they accepted it. So, not everywhere will. It was a 10,000 note for like a 1,000 item. Right? So that was an issue. And then the weather was totally fine. It was August.
August is great.
Yeah. August in Astana is so yeah, it was
That
good.
might fool you.
That's true. It's a lie, okay? No, summers in Astana are great, actually.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, so it was just really, well, especially where I live on the edge of Astana, and it's just really quiet and dead, especially back in 2018.
Yeah.
There's more development now around this area, but
It's
like
a new city, let's face it.
yeah, everything's developing like really fast, but back then it just felt like it was a deserted, you know,
I know, like,
deserted place right on the steppe,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So when it comes to moving, what difficulties did you have?
Okay.
If you remember.
Yeah, like, do you mean like taking things or like any transition time?
Yeah, well, I guess just the fact of like coming here.
Okay.
Maybe like paper-wise.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
like taking things with you, you forgot something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving here, I basically had to like get rid of anything non-essential first of all, because I think I came here.
Applies to anywhere.
Yeah, I came here with 2 suitcases in like a backpack and then another like big duffel bag, right? So my whole life is in 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. And the paperwork was actually easy because my university that I work at, yeah, they did all the work for me.
No.
And as long as you have like a sponsor or like someone who's gonna help you with the visa work, it's very easy. Yeah, not so difficult. And usually that's how foreigners, I think, come here and stay, is they get their the company they work for to give them a visa.
Did you find the job on their website or was it some aggregator for jobs?
It definitely wasn't on the website because I didn't know the website.
Okay.
So yeah, I think they posted the job on like a teaching forum, right? So like
Can you share that or no?
I don't know which one it is.
Oh.
So it was probably something like TESOL,
Okay.
TESOL or Higher Ed
Yeah.
Chronicle. I'm not sure exactly which one, but there's actually at my university there's several different English positions. So I just found like one of those English ones.
On that forum.
Yeah, on that. It's like a job, like as you said, aggregator.
Okay. So you have is that called work visa?
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
work visa.
And how long is that usually?
Okay, so it depends on your contract. So I think this is with most countries,
Yeah.
but like the visa will last the length of your contract. My contract is 3 years, and I can renew if I'm a good person, you know, if they want me back, I can renew as many times as I want. So
The visa is valid for 3 years or no?
the visa is valid for 3 years, of course, unless your passport is going to expire. Right, then you need a new passport, so you need a new visa. But yeah,
And
so
you can come out of the country and come back anytime?
yeah, it's a multiple entry visa.
Okay. Did it cost you anything to get the visa or was it taken care of Did you have to pay anything?
No, the university paid for the visa. I had to pay for my baggage and stuff, you know.
Okay.
They said they would reimburse me, but
They never did?
No, I forgot to submit my reimbursement. Yeah, so you know, for extra baggage, it's more expensive, right? And I had, of course, more than the amount, so I had to pay extra. Yeah.
I see. So when it comes to what kind of documents you needed, do you remember what kind of documents you needed to apply for that visa?
Yeah, so first of all, you need some documents from the place you work that says you work there, right? And then, of course, you need your passport, and then it depends on where you work, but in order for, like, especially educational institutions, they require you to have your diploma apostilled, which is like a special thing, and it's very complicated in the US, especially if you
It's not common there.
yeah, it's not common at all. So you have to get it notarized, and then the apostille deals with your university and then the local government of that state. And because I didn't go to university in the same state that I live in, it's like 3,000 miles away. I couldn't just like pop into my university and be like, hey, can you send this for apostillization?
Yeah.
And it costs some money. So I had to actually do it 2 or 3 times in order for it to work out. Yeah. So you need that apostille document, and then you also need a medical check.
Oh.
Yeah, especially for TB. Yeah. And you have to.
Those are all like Kazakh type of requirements. I'm hearing like for any kind of official work, usually you need to notarize things, you need to get medical checks. Was that it? For documents?
I want to say that was it. You might have to fill out some tax forms, but I can't honestly remember. You do need, also, I'm not sure if it's for the visa, but for working here, usually you get an IIN, an EIN number.
Yeah.
So
It's like an ID number.
Yeah, it's like your social security number in the US, kind of.
Yeah.
So the university helped us get that as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got a IIN.
Yeah. And were you applying online, or did you have to go to like
We
the
went in
consulate?
person.
Oh.
Yeah. There's
Where
like,
was that?
It's on the left bank of Astana. It's
So you were doing it here, not in the US?
Yeah, you do it once you get here.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they let you get an EIN from outside the country.
No, but like to apply for the visa.
Actually, all that happens here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you come here, and I think you have to bring a letter to prove that, because back then, I think it was more strict. You didn't get like a 30-day.
Oh.
It was like 2 weeks, I want to say, or something like that. So they had to work fast. So, like, in the current climate,
Visa free.
yeah, there's visa free, but also I think you can apply for the visa outside, because a few months ago or maybe a year ago they allowed for a 30-day visa or 30-day free
Before
period.
COVID.
Yeah, before COVID.
Yeah.
But when I first came, that wasn't there, so it was like
Yeah.
I think I want to say it was 2 weeks. So, and you didn't apply for the visa beforehand, at least for Americans. I know my friend who's from a different country had to apply before, but I guess we're friendly. With the US and Kazakhstan are a little bit more friendly, so
Yeah,
I came here and then got everything done.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good to know, because I was imagining you going to the consulate.
No,
Okay.
well, there's not very many of them
Yeah,
in the US. There's like
that's
5.
That's why I was asking, what city were you in?
Yeah.
So when you came here, when it comes to like adjusting, how was that process going for you? What did you have any cultural shock?
The biggest culture shock for me, and it still kind of rubs me the wrong way, is that, so the biggest culture shock and something that still kind of rubs me the wrong way is that in the service industry, sometimes people don't smile, and they can be a little bit, it's not
only
rude,
service industry,
but they just aren't friendly. And in the US, service is like big. Not as big as like maybe
Top-notch, yeah.
Japan or something where service is really important, but like you get paid by tip in the US, right? Which incentivizes people to be nice. But here there's like, tip culture isn't as big, and so people can be a little...
It's included in the bill.
Yeah, exactly. So people can be a little bit colder. I'll say the word colder, and I miss people smiling at me sometimes. Nobody smiles here. You smile at somebody and they're like, what's wrong with you? Do you want a date?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody's thinking like you're trying to move
Yeah.
towards someone if you're smiling.
Definitely not. And so I try to like smile and be like, oh, thank you. And then just be like, so that was a culture shock for me, and I wish people would smile.
Oh, yeah, I miss that too.
Which is like a big mall kind of at the edge of the city on the left bank, and it's actually kind of popular despite being on the literal edge. But inside there are clothing stores, there's a big grocery store called Ram Store that a lot of people in this area shop at, and there's also some restaurants and places to eat and a fast food court and places for kids to play. So there's a lot of places inside of this mall, and in the area I think it's the most popular place for young people to go, especially teenagers. For me, I go here to eat dinner sometimes, and occasionally I'll grocery shop at this Ram Store. But this is a very convenient place to meet people because everyone knows where it is. Since there's so many restaurants for food selection, it's quite easy to just come here and say, oh, what are we gonna eat? So let's go ahead and go see some of the places I like.
So what's your typical day like in Kazakhstan?
First of all, I want to say I'm a very boring person. But so these days it's warmer outside, so that kind of changes my routine a little bit. So I'm a full-time teacher. Like I do YouTube on the side, so I'm not just like filming videos all the time. So I'll wake up and then I teach class and then I do work. And then after that, I like to go outside. So I rented an Astana bike, so I'll bike around or you know, walk with people sometimes. And then I also am currently studying Kazakh, so each day I study Kazakh for an hour.
So amazing.
And what else do I do? I also meal prep everything beforehand.
Oh.
So I don't like cooking every day. It's so ugh. So I eat alone.
Me neither.
But on the weekends, that's when I do more interesting things. So these days, since the weather's warm and you can walk around, I've been trying to explore like new cafes in my area. So like the cafe we're in currently, last weekend was the first time I came here. And so each weekend I like try to pull one of my friends to come with me and try a new cafe or a new restaurant. Like I think next weekend I'm gonna try this vegetarian restaurant in Astana.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to visit new places. And I realized because in the past 2 years, I didn't seize the opportunity to learn about my local area as much as I should have. And I've only realized it this summer being locked up, and I was like, oh, I'm wasting my life here.
I know.
So I started trying to, I don't know, see what's around me and like see what regular people are doing. Because I know I just live in like this bubble of me and my cat and working all the time. So I'm trying to push out of that.
Did you have any expectations before you came here? I mean, I guess you didn't have any idea, but then how was it different from what you expected?
Okay. Well, this is, all right, you can cut this out if it seems a little like weird, but I didn't know what Kazakh people were going to look like.
Yeah.
Because like I said before,
That's totally fine.
I don't know much about Central Asia. So I was like, what do Kazakh people look like? Do they have a culture that's similar to some other place that I know? Like,
because it sounds like Afghanistan to many people.
right. Yeah, when you hear that stan, you think of like
Stan
the Middle East and
has
like
stigma about it. Yeah.
So when I came here, I was like, oh, these people are like not East Asian, but they're not Russian looking,
and they're not Asian.
Yeah, but they are. Because my family, whenever I was like, oh, I'm gonna go work in Kazakhstan, they're like, oh, you're gonna go work in Russia, and I was like, could you what? Even after I said I was gonna work in Kazakhstan, and I told them like it's below Russia, beside China, like four countries up from like Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran. They were still, oh my God, Americans. But yeah, so when I came here, I was like, oh, the people are totally what I didn't imagine, right? And what else? The winter's not as bad as I thought it would be. I thought I was going to be suffering, miserable, but you know, if you look at it in a positive light, it can become positive. Sure, there's like negative 40 days and the wind is like 40 kilometers an hour.
It can sweep you out of the street.
But you know, there's something kind of beautiful about it when it's moderate, when it's not so windy.
And it's dry winter, so
That's true.
It's bearable.
Yeah, actually, being in a dry winter is great, and I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know anything about snow, to be honest. I came from Texas.
Yeah.
So like, I only seen snow twice, and it was like this much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and also the city is like so strange. I've never been to a city that's like developing and becoming more modern, and that was something that was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like you can, from one year to another, things really develop and really change, and the like buildings are just like popping up like out of nowhere, you know. So it's interesting to see a place that's like developing so fast.
Yeah. What about the culture?
I feel like I'm like being too honest here, but
No, I like it. Yeah.
Because it's going to be a little bit negative, so I apologize. But I really had trouble with being figuring out what a woman is in Kazakhstan, because it's a bit, in my opinion, it's a bit different than in the U.S. And so, for me, I don't really feel like I fit in as a woman here. I don't act like I should. I've even got comments on my YouTube channel saying like I should act a certain way, which.
Now you know what we feel like.
And I only know a small degree because they think, oh, you're a foreigner, you know, you don't have to follow the rules. But that's something that I've kind of been trying to understand here. Like, I'm trying to understand why people think that way, to reconcile it with what I believe as well. Like, like I'm an activist for LGBT people, and that's not so
It's
popular here.
looked down upon.
Yeah, and that's something I kind of like hold with me, and this is also something that's gonna like get me not views, but I'm a feminist. Woo!
Yay!
And that's the word feminist is a bit negative here as well, and I just mean I think women and men are equal. You know.
Yeah, I
so
like that.
I've just been trying to reconcile that part of culture, but there's also some really beautiful things about Kazakh culture. You know, like I really love like designs, Kazakh designs, and like a way of I might be wrong, but a way of life that's a bit more relaxed, and you kind of seize the moment. Is that what you could say? Like.
And it's more family oriented.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it's in the U.S. There's a stereotype that it's not family oriented, which is true sometimes and sometimes not. But yeah, there's a definite feel of family here. Yeah, which is interesting.
So, do you see yourself staying here more than 3 years? That's a question. You're like, no.
Well, okay, so when I first came here, I thought, I didn't know anything, and I thought if it sucks, I'm leaving. After a year, I'm leaving. But this is my second year, and it's going on my third, right? So I've been.
And you're young. You might want to explore.
Yeah. So
more places.
When I first came here, I was like, I have no friends. Nobody smiles at me. Like, it's hard to make friends here.
So mean.
I know people aren't mean. It's just the when you first see somebody, and those people are working.
Russia.
Yeah, working long hours. And so I was like, I don't know. But the more I stay here, the more I'm like, there's some really beautiful parts. Like, I love Kazakhstan's nature. Oh my God! Like, if I could just travel around Kazakhstan and do nature stuff forever, I would.
Yeah.
So like,
I found that very recently myself.
So I think like I do want to visit. I do want to live in other places. So I don't know if I'm going to stay here for more than 3 years. Like I'm not saying like I want to run away from Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
It's just there's a bunch of places in the world.
Yeah.
But if I get really popular on YouTube from Kazakhstan, I'm staying.
My other question is, if someone wanted to come here, would you recommend like coming here, experiencing it, or I don't know?
It depends on what they want.
Yeah.
If they're very
if they want to save money.
Yeah, if they're very liberal though, I'd say maybe not. But if
Yeah.
they do want to save money, they want to experience a culture that they would never imagined before.
They like nature.
And they like really something different, then I would really recommend it. Yeah, and Kazakhstan's a huge country, so you can see a lot of different types of nature too. Mountains, flatlands, really cold winter, really hot summer in different places, of course. Then yeah, I would. It definitely should. People should visit Kazakhstan more. Like, I wish tourism would like develop a little bit because
it's like very early in the stage of
it's a baby right now. But if it develops,
it's a fetus.
Yeah, if it develops and becomes more accessible,
Yeah.
then I think Kazakhstan really has a potential because there's so much to do here. Actually,
Yeah.
you just have to find how to access it.
I feel like that's our job, in a way. We're trying to make it more popular.
Yeah.
So, to sum it up, 3 things you like about Kazakhstan, 3 things you don't.
Oh, you asked this in another video with the burger video with that guy.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Okay, 3 things I like about Kazakhstan, 3 things I don't. I'll start with the don't because
Yeah.
I want to end on a positive note.
Yeah. I like that.
Don't like about Kazakhstan. Like I said, the service, I wish it was a little bit more friendly. It would make me feel like Kazakhstan is friendly. Like, people always say, oh, Kazakhs are so hospitable, they're so friendly. And if that was mirrored in the service industry, I think foreigners would really believe it. Yeah.
I wanted to share a little bit behind the background about it because, again, we're nomads. Everybody has their own type of system with their cattle, and they're kind of like bosses in their little bubble.
Room or whatever, like their tribe or their.
Not even tribe. They have their house. They don't depend on anyone. They have their cattle. They're just moving around. They don't care about anybody else, and that's why it's a bit bossy. You've never been. You never had to listen to anyone. So in a way, Kazakh people are bosses. Everybody's boss. And
that's
when
true.
they're serving, they're like, I don't have to serve you. You tell me what to do. I don't care. they're a bit like that. They're a bit bossy, and nobody likes being waiters. They don't like being they don't like serving because they think of it as surviving, and they're gonna move eventually somewhere else. Nobody sees themselves as like professionally waiter for life.
Oh, okay.
And that's why it's a bit difficult to become better servers.
I never knew that.
Servers.
You know where it does have great service though?
Yeah.
Caspi.
Oh.
Caspi Bank. They're like forced to be nice. I know it.
I guess.
But they're they're nice there. All right.
Okay.
And I guess 2 other things.
Yeah.
Negative. That's hard.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's no problem. Thank you for telling me. I really think that the tourist industry needs to be developed. That's something I don't like because as a foreigner, people will really try to make the most out of the money that you have. So it's hard, especially if you don't know the language. If you do find like a Kazakh tour guide that's in English, they're gonna charge you. It's like it can be up to $500 a day for like just one hike, you know?
Oh, what?
Yeah. It's either $100 or $100 to $500 for just like something that you could do for 7,000 tenge plus a meal, like with a. So if there was more,
I think in groups probably.
No, that was by yourself. That expensive.
Oh yeah.
But the groups one is the cheaper one. But I think there just needs to be more, right? I think it's just because there's a few people, so they know they can monopolize it, right? So if there's more,
they take advantage.
Yeah. And then the last thing, it's hard to think about the negatives.
I'm happy. Although I know all the negatives myself.
This is just a complaint of mine. I wish there was more change. Like when you need money, sometimes they ask you like, do you have 50 tenge?
I know,
and
like
it's like
you owe people.
It's like, I need the 50 tenge too.
I know.
But that's just a little gripe, and usually you get change anyways.
But I feel like no one uses cash anymore.
That's true. I think that's why it's changing to more cards.
Yeah.
Or more
Which
virtual
is convenient,
pay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need the coins to buy water though, so that's why.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I need it. But then 3 things I like about Kazakhstan, and then the first one is obvious: the nature. Like, there's so much untapped potential, and I just want to go and see it all. And it's actually pretty easy to like. If you're in a big city, nature is like really close by. Almaty has all the mountains, right? Astana, if you can find the steppe, but then also close by there's like Eromintau, which has those stone statues, and then the Pink Lake, which isn't open right now. That was close by.
I haven't been there myself.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
But I heard that it was like ruined by people. But anyways,
I know.
that's the first one, and the second one. This is kind of weird, but when people are students, they're very hardworking and dedicated to being students. I'm a teacher, so this is important to me, I guess. But like, students are very genuine in their work usually. Like especially if they're passionate about it, they'll work for it. Yeah, for education.
Aww, that's nice.
And I think the third thing, is this what I like? It's just maybe something I'm mentioning. The third thing, I think the youth of Kazakhstan is very ambitious these days. Like, I know a lot of young people have a lot of dreams to open up things, to kind of like lead Kazakhstan into a new direction. And
because the country is new itself.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential, and I think people recognize that and they're trying to seize it. And I think that's really cool. You know, like in the US, I think there's less people who want to be entrepreneurs. I mean, it still happens, right? People want to be entrepreneurs, do their own thing. But here in Kazakhstan, I think there's more of like a fervor to like start something. Yeah, and I think that's so cool. Yeah, there's so much potential.
Awesome. I wanted to add to that is that we, like the youth has basically a similar type of education background, because high schools are all like similar level of education, and that's why everyone is like at the same level and they're trying to compete with each other. Whereas in the US, it's like it's like all the way, whatever. And only the ones who are like at the very best schools, they try to go further, right? But still, like there's so many people in the US.
True.
For us, it's like only a few millions.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, just it's interesting how like I talk to you and I found those.
Notice something.
I noticed something. Yeah.
All
Right, so the outside and inside here is Moroni Rosso, which is actually a chain brand of coffee shops, I suppose, but they also serve meals. So what is kind of more common here is pasta and also sandwiches, and I personally recommend their sandwiches. I also really like this dessert. It's not a dessert, it's a dessert drink called shoko. It's basically a hot chocolate, but it's literal milk and chocolate inside. Like you can see the chocolate melt, and it's wonderful. And so I usually come here for like lunch with my friends, which might be a sandwich, right? And then I also come here a lot to study. So you can just order a tea or a coffee or some other drink. And then I come here and I just sit down and I study Kazakh here for hours. Yeah.
So what's your impression of Kazakh food? Yeah, do you eat it a lot, or?
I don't eat Kazakh food a lot. Because
have you tried it?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So of course I've had horse meat. I've had beshbarmak, kaza, hummus,
which is
shubat.
Which is kaza is the horse sausage.
Yeah, horse sausage. Beshbarmak is like
the noodles
meat with noodles.
Horse meat. And hummus is like the
fermented horse milk.
Yeah.
Shubat, fermented camel's milk or camel's milk.
Was it funky, or how was your impression about that?
Okay, well, all the edible, not edible, all of the food, not drinks, all of the food is good. Yeah, like I love beshbarmak. Give me some beshbarmak anytime, you know.
I love it too.
Yeah, I also love bağırsak.
Bağırsak. Oh my god.
Like, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a donut, but I call it like fried bread.
Fried bread.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I also love plov.
Yeah.
So my favorite food, if you can call it a food, is kaza. Right, so it's
horse sausage.
Horse sausage. It has like a bit of fat in it and a bit of meat, and then I guess it's made out of lining. And not all foreigners like this, but I would actually recommend it if you're down for eating horse.
If you're down to eating meat in general.
Yeah, and I think you like put your thoughts aside of like, ooh, horses, horse, and just try it. Just to say you have, right? That's my favorite one. But actually, I'm becoming vegetarian.
Yeah.
So I don't eat those as much anymore. That's why I don't eat Kazakh food as much, just because it's very meat based.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to like hummus, but I still am not a fan.
I'm not a fan of hummus myself, like the fermented horse milk, because
it's better, in my opinion, when it's fresher.
Yeah.
And the more it ferments, it gets a smoky flavor to me.
Have you tried the fresh horse milk?
No, I haven't, but I want to. Like the really fresh one that's
it's
like...
called salmal,
Yeah.
It's actually like real milk. It's not even close to hummus. It's just regular milk. It's very nice in taste.
I want to try it.
You should try, and it's good for you. Like it's got all the nutrients the
Yeah.
horse needs. So apparently, for us, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah. Okay, so this restaurant is called Lepim I Varim, and it's a pelmeni place. So basically little dumplings, and they have different things on the inside, and the names are super fun. So the names have to do with some like inside joke about maybe Soviet country history, and it gives a hint of what's inside. So they have really good like beef pelmeni. They also have some sweet pelmeni that has like cherries inside. So I actually really like this place because you can watch them make the pelmeni as well. And they have little sides of like coleslaw salads or like cabbage salads. And they have mors there too. And mors is like a sweet fruit drink. Pelmeni, it's like a dumpling, right? So if you imagine like Chinese dumplings, these ones are boiled, right? And they're about this big, I suppose. And they serve here in batches of 10 or 15. So you can get 10 or 15 of them. Yeah, and I think it's a really good place.
Did you find it salty, oily, less vegetables?
That's
all
true.
of those things, right?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. A lot of foreigners will think Kazakh food is not healthy.
Yeah.
Because it does have, it's like not a lot of vegetables.
It's meat and noodles.
Yeah, yeah.
And bread.
And there's like, if you find vegetables, it's like potato and carrot. And it is a bit oily.
Have you had any funny, like, do you think of any Kazakh eating habits as funny or something weird for you?
Oh, well, okay. There's
Yeah.
there's something. Salad is not salad. In the U.S., a salad must have some green leaves in it.
I know.
But salad in Kazakhstan is basically anything chopped up. I've seen cherry salad before, and it was just cherry jam, basically. So that's something. Whenever you read salad, it's going to be chopped vegetables, right?
Or food is not food if it doesn't have meat in it.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Salad is not salad if it doesn't have meat in it.
Yeah, it's very hard to find a meat-free salad.
I know.
Yeah, so that's something I was like, what's a salad?
Yeah. Have you seen racism in Kazakhstan at all? Or were you like, did you see any weird reactions from locals?
Oh well, everybody thinks I'm Russian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just the way I look. So no one will speak to me in Kazakh. That's a problem that I have learning Kazakh. But there's never been any racism towards me. The only racism, it's not racism, but it's
more
like treating a race differently is with black people.
Yeah.
So people will ask to take photos with black people.
Yeah.
I've seen it a lot.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think they'll get stared at more. Obviously, I'm not a black person, so I can't tell the full story, but I have seen like some of my black colleagues, like people will ask to take a photo and they're just a normal person. But I don't think there's any racism.
There isn't any negative
No, it's just like, oh,
context
wow.
to it.
Yeah.
It's just, people never saw black people and they're like, wow.
But especially to foreigners, I don't think so. There's never like, oh, get out of our country.
Yeah, I mean, because we have 130 nationalities, we got used to. Back in the days when it was Soviet times, a lot of Russian people, Korean people were deported to Kazakhstan, and we would bring them to our houses, host them, give them food and things like that. So we're used to having so many nationalities.
Yeah, and I think people are also
ethnicities.
Yeah.
Somebody corrected me.
And people also are sometimes like mixed here. Like your grandma could be Korean, right? And the rest of your family is Kazakh. So people aren't. I don't know. People aren't so opposed to like
being mixed.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're Kazakh, people would prefer you marrying Kazakh. Yeah. There's that. So you know some Kazakh, right? Do you know any Russian? Well, can you share a little bit more about like the use of language here so that people can know?
To be brutally honest, if you're a foreigner, they're always going to expect you to use Russian. And they're never going, like, especially if they know you're a foreigner, they'll never use Kazakh with you first. And actually, there's a lot of people in Kazakhstan who don't know Kazakh. So most foreigners opt to learn Russian, and that's what they expect of you. So that's what I first started learning, actually.
Especially in big cities,
Yes.
people got used to speaking Russian.
Yeah.
If you go to rural areas, it's mostly Kazakh.
Right, but most foreigners come to big cities, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
So the language used, especially for Astana, is more Russian, I would say. More people use Russian. It's the language of...
It's more universal.
Yeah. It's the language of like when you first do some service encounter, it will always be "Здравствуйте," not "Salometispе," right? So, yeah, I think...
If it's older people, sometimes you start talking in Kazakh because they prefer Kazakh. But yeah, Russian is very... Like you can get by with just knowing Russian.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
To be honest, you don't need to know any Kazakh.
So what's your personal knowledge of any of those languages?
Yeah, so I studied Russian formally in a class for 6 months.
Oh,
so I can say I can basically get through any service encounter in the basic level. As soon as things start to happen that are outside of the norm, like they can't do something or something changes, then I'm like, but like, of course I can, at any restaurant, I can order anything, like I can ask like, "У вас есть blah blah blah," or like, "Можно," whatever the thing is, "Пожалуйста," right? Those are the phrases that you need. I can tell people like where I'm going for a taxi. So I have like a basic running knowledge of Russian that will let me get places. I want this. Where is this? Do you have this? Basically.
What about Kazakh?
For Kazakh, that's a complicated story. I have less opportunities to use Kazakh, because every time I try to like, for example, I try to use Kazakh at this place, and they always respond to me in Russian. So I was like, come on.
Answer the same language.
Yeah, I feel like I need to start all my interactions with, I'm learning Kazakh, can you speak it for me?
Yeah.
And then they will start, right?
Yeah.
But I think people mix the two languages too sometimes.
Yeah.
So for Kazakh, I can like have a conversation about where I'm from. I can tell people directions. You know, I just learned that in a Kazakh class yesterday, but I learned that beforehand too. And I can also say like, please get me this, or I need this. That's those type of things. Yeah.
Can you say something in Kazakh?
Menin adım Raquel. Мен Amerika'dan bolamın. Magan, no. Minde musik var. What else can I say? Magan, Kazakhstan, Onaida.
Yay!
I was gonna say it in a different way, but I forgot how to put the. Anyways, I forgot some grammar point.
That's really amazing. I mean, I've never seen an American speaking Kazakh.
I have people tell me my accent sounds Turkish.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I'm not sure
Yeah, I
if
haven't
like
heard of
people
Turkish.
understand me or not. So
Do you know anything about apartment costs in general? Like, how much does it cost to live in Kazakhstan?
in Kazakhstan, it depends on the city and then how new the building is. I don't know very deeply, but I know some of my coworkers who live off campus. They usually
Yeah.
pay around $500 a month, and that might include utilities. Right, so it's
How
not so
many
expensive.
rooms is that?
That could be. Okay, so rooms are a bit different in the U.S.
Yeah.
It means the number of bedrooms.
Yeah.
So not the
There is
kitchen
the
to the
number of
living room.
rooms. And the bathroom is another room.
So that's like. So one of my friends was paying I think $600 a month for 3 bedrooms, and that's so cheap. I think,
So cheap.
right? But most of the time it's like $500 for one room. I want to say, like
And it's
one
getting
bedroom.
cheaper because Astana is like building up new buildings every time. And
They're
it's
building a lot of buildings that have no residents in
I
them.
know. There's so much room, so many apartments
Yeah.
you can rent out.
Yeah.
They're all nice and all like new and things
Yeah,
like that.
and one thing I want to mention that I learned recently about apartments that's different from the US is that the lease contracts are a bit different. When you go to the US, you usually have to sign for like a certain amount of time, right? A year. And if you break contracts, you have to pay in the US. And here it's a little bit looser. You can like just pick up and leave.
Yeah, you can not even have contract at all.
Yeah. You just pay monthly.
Or
and
they
then-
can kick you out anytime.
Yeah.
Which is also annoying sometimes.
So it's way more free here. You can move around, And I think there's definitely people who will help you find apartments if you're speaking English. So it's not like you have to like use an agency to help you. Yeah, so let's go to my second location. It's not my location, that's for sure, but I like it because whenever I feel like eating plov close to where I live, I'll go to this restaurant. It's called Rumi, and so it's also a chain. You can find Rumi in other places, but this Rumi is just close to me, and I would recommend getting their plov, obviously. You can get manti. It has some Central Asian dishes. So this is it. And what I would recommend is getting bağırsak, so fried dough balls, so delicious, plus plov, and achuchuk, which is a tomato and onion kind of salad. And just, I don't know what about it, but plov and achuchuk together, it's just so good. So that's why I like Rumi for their plov and for their like Central Asian dishes. Now, if you don't want something Central Asian, they also have like chicken or fish that's just regular as well. So if I'm really craving some Central Asian food that's close to where I live, I'll go to this Rumi. And those are the 2 places inside this mall that I often, actually, those are the 3 places inside this mall that I often frequent. Rumi, Moroni Rosso, and Lepim I Varim.
So when you came here, did you have to have some kind of amount of money to like settle in, or?
Yeah, so when I came here, I brought some money with me, beforehand because my paycheck, of course, it takes a few
Yeah,
months. So
yeah.
of course, whenever you move to a new country, you need to have at least $1,000 US with you, because your paycheck's not going to come in the first day, right? It's going to be
Yeah,
2
yeah,
months
yeah.
after,
Yeah.
or like a month, or maybe 2 weeks after
Yeah.
you first start working. So
Yeah.
I came with $3,000, but I didn't use all of that money. I used, I want to say, about $1,000 that first month, just for buying things and getting things set, right? My apartment that I came in already had like the cooking utensils and plates and cups and everything, and already had a bed sheet and everything. So I didn't have to buy those things, but just buying, I had to buy a winter's coat,
Yeah.
and like all the winter
Probably
stuff,
expensive.
like $100,
Yeah.
a little bit over $100, and then the boots,
Yeah.
and then, you know, just like buying food. You know, that the first few weeks you might not be cooking all the time, right? So I think I spent around $1,000. So you at least need that much, right?
So, in general, if you wanted to come here and live, how much money do you think a person needs
A month?
a month
Okay.
to live comfortably, to go out, to
Okay.
eat out,
Yeah.
to get groceries, to rent?
Okay, so I think this also depends on what type of life you want to lead, right? You can lead a comfortable life with less money, but you have to be fine with like living like a regular person. And I think
Yeah,
a lot of
cooking for
foreigners,
yourself.
yeah, cooking for
Yeah.
yourself, right? A lot of foreigners who come here, they come for like teaching at a university, which might pay well, or working in oil, which might pay well. So they're used to having like a nicer lifestyle. That means eating out more, and the prices, if you eat out at a normal restaurant, is higher than if you eat out at like a regular person restaurant, right? So there's some difference. So if my coworkers, let's say my coworkers, I live cheaply, so we'll talk about them first. I would say they spend like $1,000 a month,
Okay.
and that would include rent maybe as well. I'm not sure because my coworkers live on campus,
Okay.
but let's say 1,000, and I
Yeah.
think I live $400 a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
if
nice.
I'm cooking at, like I eat most of my meals at home, like 1 or 2 meals a week outside. I also don't buy any coffee. That helps.
Have you noticed the difference between groceries prices and like restaurant prices between the US and Kazakhstan? Is it
Yeah.
cheaper, expensive? Or?
Okay, so to talk about restaurants first.
Yeah.
Restaurants are cheaper here. So like it depends, but like a good restaurant, not like a fancy restaurant, but like a regular good restaurant, that's about $10
Yeah.
a meal. And in the US that could be $12 to $15
Yeah.
for the same type of meal.
Yeah.
But you can find some really, like, you can go to an asana
Yeah.
and you can find some cheap food at an asana,
So cheap,
right?
yeah.
Which you couldn't find at a restaurant in
Yeah.
the US unless you go to like McDonald's, right?
Yeah. And it's going to be more or less healthy.
And then the
Groceries.
groceries. So if you're buying foreign foods, it's going to be expensive, right? But if
It's
you're buying,
imported, yeah.
if you're buying food that regular people buy, you know, like you buy cabbage, you buy potatoes, you buy tomatoes. Oh my gosh, tomatoes are cheap. Cucumber, those type of vegetables, and meat is like a regular price. So I think it's a bit cheaper than in the U.S., especially like the more expensive states. You know, like East Coast or West Coast, it's going to be way cheaper than there, right? Texas, it's about similar actually, but the difference is in the U.S. there's farmers markets, right?
Yeah.
Farmers markets are more expensive in the U.S., but here they're less expensive,
They're cheaper.
right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people here go to farmers markets to buy their fresh fruits and vegetables.
for cheap. Have you noticed any kind of cultural, you know, traits about Kazakh people, like them being late, or you know, them having like 2 weddings or something like that?
Oh, okay. Well, I've never been to a wedding I really want to
Yeah.
go to,
Yeah.
but I heard there's 2.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, the being late thing.
Being late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kazakh people are usually later, and they don't see a problem with that. However, if you're a foreigner and they know that, they'll try to be a little bit more on
Yeah.
time. They're aware, you know. But I've become a little bit more late since living here. I was on time for an appointment today.
Yeah, you're
but
on the darker side now.
yeah. But some other traits. Men are men. Men want to be manly.
Yeah, they're like.
Yeah, and women sometimes want to be feminine,
Yeah.
right? More feminine than in the US. So those are some traits. And then what else? Another like specific cultural thing is once you get invited to somebody's house, oh my gosh, the guest culture is like next level,
Yeah.
right? So if you are invited to somebody's house, which may happen, like Kazakh people, if they find you interesting or they want to, they'll be like, come to my house, I will treat you. And once you get there, you're gonna be the guest. Like,
yeah, you're gonna be the king.
Yeah. So like in the US, you might help them out with something, but they're like, no, you sit there, and they're gonna put the table full of like things to snack on with tea, right? And they'll always be serving you tea. Tea is a big culture here, and like they'll make their best food, right? And it'll be a lot of food.
There's like a feast usually.
Yeah. So that's something that, you know, it makes you feel warm and fuzzy. Like when someone invites you and they make all their nicest foods, like, oh my gosh, I'm special.
I love that too.
Yeah.
I love about our culture. So how safe is Kazakhstan?
Okay, so my opinion, I think will be different than Kazakh people's opinion. I think Kazakhstan is actually very safe, even for a woman. Like when I talk to some Kazakh people, they're like, oh, you shouldn't go to this city alone as a woman. Like they're gonna harass you. Personally, I feel Kazakhstan is so safe, and I've never really been like severely harassed by someone. The most harassment I've gotten is like a taxi driver be like, are you married? Will you marry me? But that's like nothing, right? And you can say no, and they're not gonna be like, okay, I'm stealing you. You know, that doesn't happen. If you're a foreigner, first of all, you're not gonna be stolen. But I think especially the left side of Astana, left bank of Astana, where we are now, so safe.
Yeah.
Like I never feel afraid walking alone at night. It might be different, like in different cities. I haven't like been alone at night in a lot of different cities, but I would say Almaty and Astana are actually pretty safe.
Yeah, mostly.
There's not, you don't have to worry about a lot of theft in public.
Yeah.
Right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so like, for example, in the US, let's say we were at this cafe and we both went to go get our drinks. Someone might have to stay at the table because someone might steal our stuff. But here we could both go, and you know, people wouldn't steal. Yeah, of course, in general, yeah. If you're traveling anywhere, be a little bit cautious. But like, I've never felt threatened here, and it feels safe to me.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it's mostly very safe.
Yeah.
I guess, what's your plan? What's your mission with your YouTube channel?
Okay.
What do you see yourself in? Where do you see yourself in a few years, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a long-term plan, not a five-year plan. But so what I do with my YouTube is just kind of show my life and how I kind of react to the environment. And also I do want to get into a little bit more of showcasing things about Kazakhstan. I recently did a video about like a botanical garden, which is somewhere I like, and I like to share things I like with people, right? And so kind of like my own reaction to the world I'm living around, right? And that world happens to be Kazakhstan right now. So I guess that's what I do, and in the future I would like to kind of showcase a normal life here and like what people are, what people do, you know, or what I do normally. Yeah, so I need to contact people more. I've tried to reach out to several locations, but I get rejected. But I'm hoping that there's like more opportunities open up for me to interact with other people.
Go into more detailed experience.
If there's any wedding services who want to throw a wedding for me, I'm totally down. That's my dream. Okay, I don't need to get married, but I want the wedding. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But
I totally get you, especially with the COVID.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Yeah. So that's what I kind of do. My world of Kazakhstan.
3 tips well, maybe not 3, whatever number of tips you have for foreigners coming here. What would that be? Okay.
So my first tip is that you really need to push yourself into society here and try to get yourself in with the regular people. To be honest, I failed at doing that. When I first came here for about a year, I was just living in my own bubble, and I think I really, really missed out. So you kind of have to force yourself in. because it takes a little bit to like push into the culture here, but once you're in and once you have some friends, I think things really open up. And definitely explore places in your area. Like the way a lot of cities are built is that there's like little neighborhoods, and in those little neighborhoods there's kind of like different things that they have. So definitely kind of get to know your neighborhood. And another tip I would have, if you're coming to live here, don't just stay in your city. Travel, right? Try to visit a lot of places, because I know a lot of foreigners, they just stick to wherever they live, right? But try to go to different places. Traveling by train is pretty cheap, right? It might take a long time, but that's another experience. You know, you get like, there's a bunk of 4 and you're the only one, and then like your next door bunkmate, like this aga will like give you some melon or something, you know, like,
Yeah.
so definitely like take public transport when you travel. Yeah, so I guess those would be my tips. Like, put yourself out there when you come here, and like try to experience as much as possible.
All right, thank you so much. So much information and so many things we learned about your experience as an expat here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment down below what you liked most about this video, or if you have any more questions so we can make another video with Rocky. And don't forget to check out her channel. She has another video with me there and many more videos about her experience in Kazakhstan. So yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.